Hey folks, Quill18 here, bringing you another League of Legends replay, and this time it is a replay that was posted online by the person playing as Nidalee here, Kakasol. Now, this is actually the alt account of a player named HotshotGG, who is one of the most highly ranked, well-known League of Legends players. So now this is his alt account, so I don't know exactly which elo he's playing at, but you can expect a pretty high-level game. I would definitely expect from this. Wow, looks like Shen's got quite the slow computer. So looking at the teams, I actually quite like the top team's composition in general. Shen, of course, a very good tank. Sion and Ashe bringing some excellent CC. Nunu's bringing a little bit of CC himself, as well as being quite a good jungler. Now, I'm not sure about Soraka as a choice, unless there's been a patch super recently that's changed her. She's kind of fallen to the bottom of the heap in terms of support champions, so it's kind of interesting to see her as a pick there. I don't think these are pre-made teams. I think this is a solo queue game. So just someone who want to play Soraka, perhaps. At the bottom, we've got a few interesting choices. Malphite and Janna, of course, superbly strong characters. Malphite, an excellent initiator. Nidalee, as well, is a very, very strong character who can be played as either support or AP or AD, some sort of carry. I suspect with Kakasol here being such a fairly skillful character, he'll probably go for more of a carry-type build, especially since Janna is there to provide support. Veigar's a champion I don't see too often these days, and it's nice to see him getting a little bit of play. He's got some very cool CC, a few very cool moves, but he can be countered kind of easily. And finally, we've got a Warwick jungling on the... oops, wrong hotkey. Jungling on the purple team. So we've got Nunu jungling bottom and Warwick jungling top. So that means we're probably going to end up in a configuration where we are going to have two solo laners top. Of course, at the in the higher levels of play like this, you almost always see a jungle on both teams. A nice clairvoyance there by Janna, but she only catches a couple of people there to be able to see where they're going and what their items are. That is a cool move. I'm a huge fan of clairvoyance in general, especially when I do play Janna, but I don't tend to clairvoyance the enemy fountain just because even if I do see them and see the items, it's not enough to really tell me what's going on exactly. And if you'll excuse me for a moment, I've got to adjust my microphone here. Sorry about that, folks. Alright, now we see the blue teams making their way down here to keep an eye on the river, because I would expect the jungling Warwick is going to want to start off by grabbing the blue buff at the start of the game. And by doing this, they're able to see if any of the purple team are going to try to come around and interfere with the blue buff. Now, there's not quite enough of them here to do a full team fight. Meanwhile, the purple team has all 5 of their characters down here guarding the blue buff. So you can see the same mentality going into play. And now I think with the knowledge that the purple team is not coming to gank the blue buff, Warwick's going to get into position, and everyone's going to get to their lane. So it's going to be a Jaina and Veigar bottom. They're going to be pretty potent ranged attack. Nice combination there. Meanwhile, Nidalee going top and Malphite bottom. And every single person on this team has ranged farming capability if need be, ranged harass capability. Malphite, of course, is a melee champion, but his seismic chart, if I remember the name of that ability correctly, his Q ability, is very, very good at harass and can sneak in some last hits if required. Meanwhile, Nidalee is going to be laning on top, and of course, we're going to spend a little bit more of our time looking at Nidalee here just because the replay is from her perspective. Excuse me. From my point of view, it'll be quite interesting because I'm not a Nidalee player. So quite curious to see exactly what kind of build she is going to go for here. Now, she has put her first rank in her E ability, Primal Surge / Swipe, and in her human form, it does allow healing as well as a small attack speed buff. But this is the ability that can turn Nidalee into a support champion if she chooses to play that way. And I do see it from time to time, but generally speaking, I think she's, especially in solo queue situations, much stronger played as a support. But it still makes that E a very, very good initial ability, especially when you're playing solo like this. Sion's going to try to get a hit off with his AoE. Oh, the sun goes off too, because he is level 2. Lands the stun, lands the AoE, but ends up taking just as much damage as he's giving, and in fact there's going to be a little bit more of an engagement here. Kind of surprising, but Nidalee is not afraid to get hurt a little bit, since she can heal herself up. Although that's starting to be a little bit much, even in Ignite going down, and Nidalee is forced to flash away to feel safe enough to survive that encounter. It's interesting, she has not spent her level 2 ability yet. She hasn't decided between Javelin Toss and Bushwhack, perhaps saving it for a situational opportunity when one or the other might be the superior option. Interesting to see how aggressive Shen is playing here against two ranged characters, but not necessarily that much retaliation going on by Viger. Meanwhile, Warwick's still making his rounds in the jungle here. You definitely want to keep an eye on him on the minimap just to get an idea of what he's doing if you're not comfortable with jungling. Just to see his path, but it looks like they're maybe trying to get an engagement here on Ashe. She has pushed the lane considerably here, which is quite surprising, but no, looks like Warwick is going to move away at this point. Speaking of pushing lanes, the top lane has also been pushed very, very well. I suspect if Sion is trying to use his AoE, he is going to be pushing the lane a little bit when he's doing that. It's very good for last hitting, of course, defensive purposes, and if you can land the damage on an enemy champion, that's also going to do a very nice damage, but it means you're splash damaging the enemy minions and pushing the wave. Sion is absent at this point. It's interesting. I'm wondering if he's lining up for a gank somewhere, or no, there he comes back, or if he was just buying an item. He's currently got the Sapphire Crystal, just giving him higher mana. Not sure what he's going to do for that. I expect he'll probably turn that into either a Sheen or a Catalyst. And then if he does go the Catalyst route, it'll be interesting to see if he is going for some sort of AP build, which would mean a Rod of Ages, or if he's going to build it into a Banshee's Veil at some time later on. Meanwhile, another engagement top here with Shen harassing both of the casters, being forced back. I don't know what health levels these guys are all at. Of course, we cannot see that using the replay system, but I'm still thankful for having it. Still quite the active set of encounters down there. And at this point, you can see that Nidalee's actually taking a level advantage. Perhaps Sion did step away for a little bit, and now he's returned. Now, the big question is, now that Nidalee is pushing this lane, is Sion going to try, or not Sion, sorry, Nunu going to attempt a gank top? Nunu and Sion are definitely two champions that would do an excellent job at getting that kill. Nunu with his slowing snowball, Sion with his stun, and they may not be able to get the kill. Now, if they wait until she's level 6, I really doubt their ability to kill, because Nidalee gains considerable mobility, once she gets her Cougar form, aspect of the Cougar. On the other hand, if they wait until Nunu is level 6, then they will have a pretty monstrous ultimate to try to take her out with. Not only does it do a lot of damage, of course, but it also is really, really effective at slowing people down. Meanwhile, it looks like there is an engagement here. Interesting, both jungles coming out at the same time to gank middle. Malphite coming out, and Ashe is probably going to be able to get away just fine. In fact, it's Warwick that's going to be forced back, I suspect. He's being slowed down by both Nunu's red buff, the snowballs, as well as Ashe's arrows. And indeed, that is a double kill. But an enemy being slain at the bottom. No. Or am I getting confused about my teams? Sion went down. No, he's there. What's going on? Nunu died. What? Oh, there's something weird going on here. Okay, maybe I misread that fight, but I think there is something weird going on, because now you can see, looks like Warwick is still standing there. I don't know. I must have misread something, and I apologize for that. Still trying to get my my flow on with this. Wow, look at that pounce, tower diving in, getting easy kill on Ashe, who's very, very low level. And that's now that she is level 6, that is to say Nidalee is level 6, she gains an incredible amount of mobility and can get around the map very, very, very quickly. Despite the fact that she still has no boots, she can get places very fast. And at this point, she's got a good amount of money, 1,300 gold. It'll be interesting to see what she is going to buy and what kind of build she is going to be going for. Getting the Doran's Ring seems to be a very popular item to get with Nidalee, regardless of what build you're getting, because early on the mana regeneration is very nice, and the AP helps you get slightly more effective heals and better harass with the spear at the same time. Janna putting down a defensive clairvoyance here. You can see, making sure that despite the fact that she's pushing lane a little, she's not actually going to be in too much trouble. And what have we picked up? We have picked up the Mercury's Treads. I think that's an excellent choice in this particular game. Given the amount of CC on the enemy team, Ashe, Sion, Nunu, and even Shen with his taunt, considerable amount of opportunities for CC. And when you're playing someone who's a little squishier like Nidalee, you don't want to be locked in place too long, especially since she has such good escape and heal mechanisms. As long as she doesn't get locked down, she can get away from almost any encounter. It's really, really a surprising thing to see. Oh, Nunu maybe engaging on Warwick? No, backs off. There's a ping going down to let them know that Nunu is around. Malphite's going to see if he can cut them off. I'm not entirely confident. No, Nunu has decided to stick around. I think this is going to be the death of Nunu. He's not going to be able to escape Malphite with his Seismic Shard, slowing him down, and if anyone else on the team is able to catch him, the stun coming off from Vigar, and that should be enough to finish him off. Ashe arrow, maybe saving the day, hits Vigar. And we actually get the ultimate going off from Malphite to get the kill. It's a little strange to read that without all the battle animations, which don't seem to come up. Janna drops down now at this point, and looks like they're going to be chasing Veigar. Shen trying to get a hold of him. Doesn't quite do it, and although they turn around just in time to avoid that stun. Meanwhile, looks like Veigar is not done contributing with the fight. Always nice when you see higher level players, they get a little bit better of a sense about when to stay in, even if they are lower health, even if they take some abuse, they stick around for a few hits when they're sure that, or at least fairly confident that they're not going to be hit in return. And where's Nidalee going to go here? Is she going to go and help the push in the middle? Looks like they are pushing pretty heavily. There's some ping going off on Ashe, and I suspect that Nidalee would love to get a kill there, but it's not going to happen. They've retreated to the safety of their tower, especially with Soraka there, providing some heals and some silence. So Nidalee's just going to return to her top lane. Meanwhile, Sam, though, is actually at half health, and she could potentially engage on him. What items has he picked up at this point? He just has the Sapphire, the Amplifying Tome, and Boots 1. I don't think he's going to be able to get away from this. Indeed, no, he goes down, and Nidalee is once again able to get out of there. Easy peasy. And starts healing herself once again. She is at level 5 of her Primal Surge, which is her heal, and then also, when she's in Cougar form, it is her Swipe ability, which claws at enemies in front of her. A very nice little farming tool, as well as a great way to add some extra burst damage to her abilities, and it's really, I think, her primary form of attack when she is in Cougar form. She's also got the Bushwhack ability at rank 1, which is her Lunge, and level 2 Javelin Toss / Takedown. A lot of pings going off all over the place, and I suspect Warwick is probably pinging because he's got his ultimate up. He's waiting for Nunu to get out of position, and there it is. Nunu, only level 5, is easily going to get taken out, and, oh, I thought so. Certainly, there's no way for him to escape. There we are. Nidalee, again, is just going to be way too fast, if anything else, not to mention that, of course, that she had some help there. She did get awfully low, but clearly knows her limits. Gets in, gets out, and now it's a 5-4 game with Nidalee at 3-0-0, and that's pretty notable. Nidalee, once she gets farmed, she is able to gank people pretty quickly, and does do a lot of burst damage quite quickly. But again, I think the real strength of Nidalee is her ability to escape very, very quickly. And general map mobility, of course, but the fact that she's so hard to kill tends to be what makes her so powerful. If she can get any sort of early edge, it just means it's virtually impossible to kill her, and of course in a one-on-one situation, she's probably actually going to win. Meanwhile, Ashe applying a lot of damage to the middle tower, and it goes down. Warwick is going to be a little bit too late to try to prevent that. Meanwhile, Nidalee has picked up the red buff to go along with the blue buff that I think she picked up on a kill somewhere, and she's going to try to wrap around and see if she can do something to Sion, who's a little overextended, but I think he's going to be okay, especially since he probably still has a stun in the bank. And the stun does go down, but Nidalee is going to be able to continue chasing, especially with the red buff slowing him down considerably. Will he be able to get to the safety of his tower? Another pounce going down, and she's reverted to spears. Now there's a stun that goes off. If that spear lands, it does land, but it does not quite kill him. Looks like he actually just gained a whole bunch of hit points. I'm not sure exactly what that was. Wouldn't have been a potion to do that much of a burst. I'm quite confused. Unless he drank an elixir. That's entirely possible. Ashe coming out of the bushes to engage on Malphite. Wow, double ultimate here, pulling him in. Malphite looks like he ulted out to get out of that ultimate. That must be what he did. I can't think of anything else that would have given that mobility. That's the second time I see him make a leap forward like that. And despite not seeing the animation, it must be that. She's trying to slow down Ashe, but I don't think he's quite going to be able to do it. Oh, Malphite turning around, getting another blow on Ashe, and she is definitely going to go down. Meanwhile, oh, Malphite's going to be just too slowed by Nunu. May actually survive. A nice heal coming down from Nidalee, and with the additional help, Nunu goes down without getting a kill. That is a really, really clutch heal by Nidalee. Really smart move. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And now, looks like there's some more pings going on at the bottom. They may try to get a gank off that way. Veigar still trying to get a lot of farm, trying to power up his main ability, his Q ability. The dragon being taken here. Now, the purple team is moving. I believe they probably have a ward put down. And, I don't think I can tell which ward is which here. Looks like there are two of them, and I'm almost thinking that the purple team must have had a ward. Curious. Can't do it yet, and they back off. So you can see in these somewhat higher level games, there's a lot of combat going on the neutral minions. The dragon is going to be a huge point of contention. It's going to be warded almost the entire game from this point on, and anyone trying to do it is going to be is going to have to be very fast, very, very sneaky, or most likely just have to wait for the enemy team to be out of position. You want confirmation that the enemy team has moved somewhere else and try to engage the dragon as quick as possible. The alternative is to drop a counter ward there, try to kill the ward, and then come back to the leader point, or use oracles to do similar. But even if you do that, you're not going to be able to get the kill right away because, of course, the enemy team is going to be quite suspicious. In fact, if you do that, you can probably expect them to drop another ward very, very soon. Janna coming in from behind, trying to apply a little bit of pressure here, seeing if they can't set up some sort of gank, but it's going to be a little hard pressed, although Nunu way overextending, and he's only level 6. Wow, he's very, very lucky he didn't die there, and even Janna coming in from behind to apply some rear pressure. These people are going to be pushed back way too much. There's indeed a tower dive. Oh, interesting ultimate there from Janna to pin Sion up against the wall, who starts running back towards his tower, but there was nothing he could do, and at that point, he should have just tried to get a few more auto attacks, just in case it made a difference. In fact, Nidalee's going to be in a lot of trouble now. Oh, even the ultimate from Ashe. A heal and a flash through the wall. I cannot believe it. Oh my god, a clutch heal. And she is sticking around the action. Again, she heals herself up just a little bit. Ashe is quite low. This is a huge risk she's taking. She is able to kill Ashe. Look at the hit points. Finally gets taken out, but oh my god, I thought she was going to be able to escape yet another time, and that would have been absolutely stunning. Shen is probably going to be forcing... Oh, with Malphite at full health, there could have been an engagement there, but looks like everyone is low on mana, and they're just going to run back. They've done some damage just now, 9-5. Nidalee at a whopping 6-1 score. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Curious to see about Nunu. Nunu, 0-4, not really doing too well, and clearly at this point, I think he's going to be bringing the team down considerably. He's going to have to go into a lockdown mode, where all he's going to do is be around for his ultimate, and he may want to consider picking up nothing more than a Banshee's Veil and perhaps a Guardian Angel, because he's going to get focus fire down very, very quickly in team fights, and he definitely wants to make sure he can get off his ultimate if possible. Oh, Clairvoyance showing Nunu in the bushes, going after the blue buff. I don't think anyone's in position to take him out, though. Meanwhile, Sion and Malphite are getting into a scuffle up top, and it looks like Nidalee is going to be taking the blue buff. Really good choice for her. She can spam out spells pretty quickly, but I think the most important part is actually because her mana regen is actually fairly decent, and looks like there's going to be a nice engagement here on Ashe, who does throw down a defensive ultimate, but I can't see her get away, though. She gets slowed by Janna and knocked up, and Nidalee takes yet another kill. What I was saying about the blue buff is I think one of the biggest factors with the blue buff is actually the cooldown reduction, which enables her to be incredibly deadly in that cougar form. She can what is it called? The pounce much more often, so that she gains considerably more mobility and just generally does a lot more damage, since her abilities in cougar form don't actually use any mana, so it is simply limited by the cooldown. And looks like we are going to try to go after the dragon once again, and no one is in position to do anything about it. Shen is chasing down Viger, and he's going to try to juke that out. Meanwhile, dragon should go down any time now. Viger's still dancing with Shen, and it's interesting that he hasn't just run to the tower. He must think he can do something. Whoop. Throws him back with a stun. And what is Viger doing in terms of creep kills? 84, certainly very, very nice. Nidalee is leading the pack with 114. It does help that she was solo for such a long time, but once she gets that cougar form and she gets her swipe going on, she can farm things extraordinarily quickly, and I think that's another big part of her strength. She doesn't even need to get any kills early on. If you just allow her to get a lot of free farm, she's going to be an incredibly threatening character. Looks like they were considering maybe a gank, but they've thought better of it. Warwick backing off. Without the support of the tower being close by, you have very little recourse if something goes wrong. However, looks like we do have the blip going down on Nunu. Interesting that she volleyed into the brush there. It's possible they have a ward. She did throw her sight ability, that's Ashe I'm talking about, sometime before, but I'm sure that it dissipated by then, so either they have a ward or it's just a random volley. A lot of champions, when they do their skill shots, you can, even if you can't see the landing, and Shen coming in here to save Nunu ults, but it is completely wasted. Malphite saving Nidalee from an ultimate. Shen, meanwhile, engaging on her, taunting and exhausting her. There's Malphite's ultimate, hitting a whole lot of people at once, and he's going to be able to get away and survive that. Nice ultimate there by Janna, healing her team, and Warwick is quite low. Nice taunt there by Shen, catching 3 or 4 people. He's virtually dead. He's a second away. Nidalee is chasing him. Now Warwick, no. Sion does go down at least. Unbelievable that Shen survived there. And